Okay, we got all the board members, superintendents here, thank you. All right, could I have a motion to come out of executive session back into open session? All in favor? Thank you. Regular public monthly meeting of October 21st, 2021, called to order. Could I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Barbarello,
Here.
Mrs. Faye Belovich,
Here.
Mr. Itkin,
Here.
Mrs. Mahan,
Present.
Ms. Quackenbush,
Here.
Mr. Rosenberg,
Here.
Mr. Santana,
Here.
Mr. Spindell,
Present.
and Mr. Banta.
Here. New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the public of the right to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of bodies, of the public bodies, at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this provision of this act, the Fair Lawn Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof, distributed to the persons on the approved list, posted in the Board of Education Administrative Office, and sent to the Bergen Record and the Star Ledger. The announcement posting for the regular monthly meeting, along with the date, time, and place thereof, was distributed on October 12, 2021. Items to be discussed during the closed work session. Do we have to have another closed? Okay. Not having another closed work session. Thank you. As per Governor Murphy's Executive Order number 251, masks must be worn the entire time in the building for the duration of the meeting and while speaking. Proper PPE will be made available. Would you join me in a flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Norcia for Superintendent Comments.
Thank you, Mr. Banta. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. So there's a couple things that I would like to start off with tonight. Agenda items that we need to speak about. Presentation that Dr. Lacatina and Mrs. Camille DeFranco will be presenting on. But as you can see here in front of you, everybody should have a presentation that was out back. In addition, there was a QR code. If you did not want to kill the tree, you could use the QR code and look at it on your phone as well. But first, I would like to start by thanking the Fair Lawn Green Team, the Shade Tree Commission, and our Shared Services Committee that met last week, as well as Mr. John Yobbs and our Buildings and Grounds crew and our business administrator. The Green Team and the Shade Tree Commission they've donated 70 trees to the Fair Lawn Public Schools that will be planted on every one of our school properties. So thank you. Through Shared Services, our men will be maintaining the trees that'll be donated to us by the town. We have 3 additional professional development days that'll be added to our calendar. They are half days. This is typical. This happens every single school year. But when we developed the calendar last year, we always developed a school calendar so that everybody could plan their vacations and adjust their calendars accordingly. And then we add the professional days, the half days for professional development later. We already had our 2 full days of professional development. And on this screen right now, you will see December 15th, February 8th, and March 21st as our half days for professional development. One of the things that we are required to report out on is our HIB self scores, our harassment, intimidation, and bullying self-assessment. What we do as a district, what we do as a building, as each school, is we look at how we are doing on harassment, intimidation, and bullying and how we address it, and we give ourselves scores. We set a bar for ourselves on areas where we can improve. We fill out a rubric, and we look at our scores, and then we say, we feel that we can maybe do a little bit more professional development here. We feel that our staff could utilize some training here. Maybe the parents need more resources on how to report harassment, intimidation, and bullying. So the state allows us to give ourselves a score, give ourselves a self-assessment, and set the bar for ourselves on how we're doing. Our self-assessment scores, Fair Lawn High School. Now, mind you, before I read the scores, because it would be a little misleading if I didn't tell you the highest score you could get is a 78. Fairlawn High School gave themselves a score of 69. This print is very small. Thomas Jefferson, 65. Memorial Middle School, 70. Milnes, 69. Forest, 69. Lincrest, 70. Radburn, 68. Warren Point, 68. Westmoreland, 70. The total district average score is a 69 out of 78. The Department of Education, and I believe this in my heart as well, you don't ever want to score yourself perfect because you're saying that you're doing everything perfect. As we all know, and we've discussed recently, bullying is something that we have zero tolerance for, that, we will not tolerate by any means, and that we need to address. We always have to look to do better, to be upstanders and not bystanders, and something that we take very serious here. So our bullying scores, we look at areas such as program, training, our curriculum, our personnel who are doing the investigations. Have they been receiving professional development on an annual basis? So all these factors come into each individual school looking at their team and looking at their building as a whole and giving themselves a score. We have an upcoming policy meeting on November 11th at 7 p.m. The reason why I'm reporting this out is because we conducted a policy audit of the district with Strauss Esme, our policy writer, and we are taking a look at all of our policies. At the last policy meeting, we discussed this. We started with the zeros in the bylaws, and we looked at all of our policies that they recommended that we update or abolish because they're old policies. And we said that every month we are committed to having a policy meeting, and we will review all of our policies that may be antiquated, may need to be updated or mandated or abolished. So this coming November, we will be doing the 1000s, which is the administration. But in addition, there was a request several times for the public participation at board meetings policy for us to take a look at that and rewrite that policy so that it is relevant for the district as we are coming out of a pandemic, but still navigating some of these difficult times. Are we utilizing Zoom? Are we utilizing Google Meet? Or not Google Meet, but we use Google Form for questions in tonight's meeting. But there's a lot more to that conversation that the board needs to spend time on and write a policy that works for them. So that policy meeting is only a couple weeks away, and that policy hopefully will be updated after that meeting. In addition, we will be abolishing any old policies that are completely antiquated and not relevant anymore. We'll just get rid of them all at one meeting. CUSAC. CUSAC, for those of you who do not know, is like being audited by the Department of Education. Every 3 years, we have to go through the CUSAC process. And 3 years ago, we were considered a highly exceptional, outstanding school district. We did unbelievably well on CUSAC. They look at areas such as fiscal, operations, governance, curriculum and instruction. They get into policy making, and they pretty much come in with a team from the Department of Education. They spend a day here, but we spend 6 months preparing for it before they come, and they literally go through everything we do as a district. They walk our buildings, they check the bathrooms, they check the water fountains, they check our facilities, they go through our policies to make sure they're updated. They pull random personnel files, make sure everybody's being evaluated. They make sure the superintendent's being evaluated. They check our financials. They make sure that we have an audit done every year. It's literally every aspect and every corner of our institution or our school district is under a microscope by the Department of Education. They send us a template of what we have to start preparing for and what we need to go by. And that's what the DPR is. That is actually on the board agenda tonight. We have a team of CUSAC members. That's a multidisciplinary team that's made up of teachers, administrators, board members. We actually have a board member liaison that's on our committee list, who is Michael Rosenberg, who is part of our CUSAC team. And we meet and we make sure that, everything is where it needs to be in preparation for when the Department of Education comes out. Just to give you an idea, we've been working on this since the summer, and they don't come out until February. So we will be full steam ahead up until February to ensure that we still perform at an unbelievable level like we always do. We'll keep you updated on that as well. And then the last thing, one interesting fact about CUSAC, which really segues into the next presentation, is that CUSAC, they pull your state test scores. We haven't had state test scores for several years due to COVID. So we are actually, because they do CUSAC every 3 years, it's called a look back, they're actually utilizing the same test scores they utilized the last time we were CUSAC. So it's not 1920, it's not 2021, it's the same test scores from 3 years ago that they'll be using for CUSAC. So at least we have an idea of where we stand with that right now. But because we don't have state test scores, we are not reporting out on state test scores tonight because we haven't had them for the last couple of years. But what we have to report out on is our access testing, our DLM testing, our graduation rate, and it's a very short presentation, but Dr. Lacatina and Ms. Camille DeFranco are going to report out on that. I'm calling this part 1 of 2 presentations because within the next couple of months, you are going to hear about more test scores, not the state test scores, but the Start Strong assessment, as well as some work that we did back in the spring, the summer, and what we're going to be doing moving forward. But we can't do that presentation until we have the Start Strong assessment data from the Department of Education, and then we have a certain amount of days that we have to do that presentation in the public here at a Board of Education meeting. So you'll be hearing more about test scores in the next couple of months. We'll have another presentation on that. So this is part 1 of 2. At this point, I am going to turn it over to Dr. Lacatina. You have your own microphone. There you go.
Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. And as Mr. Norcia said, we are going to speak with you briefly about our DLM access and graduation results. As Mr. Norcia explained, we have not had new NJSLA scores since 2018-19, and that was also the last time we had a traditional school year. In 2019-20, we were in person with our students through early March, but then we were fully remote for the rest of the year. And then last year, we were remote until around October, where we phased our students back in. But even then, it was a mix of hybrid learning and sometimes fully remote, depending upon the disease and whether or not we were able to keep our schools open. And because of that, it's really difficult for us to really compare scores from one year to the next, given all of those situations, because we know that that impacts what happens in our classrooms. So again, we have no New Jersey student learning scores since 2018-19, so we're not going to report on that. But we are going to first start talking about dynamic learning maps, and I'm going to ask Ms. DeFranco to explain that to you, and then I will jump back on for a couple of other slides at the end.
Whenever there is an annual review, this is on, right? Okay. For students with an IEP, meaning every single year that program is assessed and determined and redetermined, there's a section of the IEP that is devoted to state and district testing. At that time, the IEP team decides whether or not a student will participate in typical state testing, which is the NJSLA and other district tests, or whether their abilities or their needs are so significant that they shouldn't participate in a typical state test that is normally delivered in the spring, but an alternate assessment that would be a truer and more reliable indicator of their abilities. The dynamic learning maps is an assessment that is tailored for students with significant cognitive needs and is tailored to assess their learning throughout the school year that is more closely related to IEP goals and essential elements of New Jersey learning standards. So what happens with this assessment is that teachers will assess their students in a very individual way. It is a computer-based test, but the difference is that a teacher will input some information and the student will input some information, and that will give a more reliable indicator of what they have learned in terms of grade-level content. And again, this is decided by the IEP team, and the subject areas that relate to the dynamic learning maps is mathematics, language arts, and science, synonymous with NJSLA testing. Grades 3 to 12 for science, it's grades 5, 8, and 11. Thanks, Natalie. And you can see here, within the district, there were 37 students whose IEPs dictated that they needed to take an alternative assessment in English language arts and math, and 21 students who needed an alternative assessment, the dynamic learning maps for science. This assessment rates students in terms of their ability as either emerging, approaching, meeting the target, or advanced. The results of 2021's DLM scores showed that 19 students are emerging in English language arts, 7 are approaching, 9 are at target, 2 are beyond that target and advanced. 20 students are emerging in math, approaching the target, 5 students, 8 students have met that target, and 4 students are advanced. For science, 15 students are emerging towards the target, 3 are approaching the target, 3 are at the target level, and 0 are advanced in science. Again, all of these scores relate to a student's individual need and their own pacing and timeline according to the IEP. This gives as close of a match or indicator as possible to some grade level content standard.
I will now discuss Access for Ells. Access is the state test that needs to be given to all of our English language learners. And what this assessment does is it assesses students on their proficiency in the English language. So it tests them on 4 domains: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And again, it is administered to all of our students, and in this case, it's kindergarten through grade 12, all those students who are identified as English language learners. So you can see, based on the results, we have it broken down by grade level and grade span. If there are less than 11 students in one particular area, we cannot report out on those scores. So you can see on this assessment how many of our students were advanced in English proficiency in each grade level. So kindergarten is 60% of our students were advanced, first grade 74%, second grade 79%, third grade 73%, fourth grade 92%, grades 5 through 7 63%. We did not have enough students to report out on grades 8 or 9. And our students in grades 10 through 12, we had 25% of those students that were advanced in their English proficiency. And the score on this assessment is one indicator that we use to determine whether or not students need to continue with their ELL services. And then graduation information, which is much too small for me to see. Oh, I think I can see it from back here. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about the pathways that, that's okay, the pathways that students have used to reach their graduation requirements. So the first section of this chart shows you that we have 386 students in district who graduated, and we had 6 out-of-district students. We had, that is going to be tough for me reading it backwards. I was going to try. Hold on one second, please. All right, thank you. We had 74 students who had to take a substitute assessment in ELA. So what that means was they did not meet the required criteria for graduation. At that point, it was a PARCC assessment. So they did not pass the ELA PARCC requirement, so therefore students are allowed to use other scores such as an SAT, an AccuPlacer, a PSAT score. So we had 74 students in district that used something other than the PARCC test to meet their graduation requirement in ELA. We had 51 students that met their math requirement in an alternative way. We had no students that needed to do a portfolio process. And then the number of students that had a different alternative requirement, again, because of an IEP. Some students have other types of pathways that they can use to graduate from high school. No students with IEPs had to use that for ELA, but we did have 5 students who used that pathway for math. And then we denied no students graduation for any other reason. So aside from those numbers up there, everybody else met the typical graduation requirements in ELA and math in order to meet their graduation requirements. And that is it. Thank you.
On the number of students participating in DLM, on the students participating in DLM, with these, like as you see, students tested, emerging, do we look at each student individually, or are we looking at the program or both on how things are progressing? Like as you see in science, kids approaching target, but they didn't advance. Is that something we look at the program? Is the program proper or too difficult on, I guess, on state standards, or do we look at the children also individually?
The answer to that would be both. The assessment is designed on an individual level, and it's a one-to-one format when given by the teacher and the student. So to answer your question, yes, it's based on individual understanding and application of English language arts concepts at each grade level, math concepts at each grade level, and science concepts at each grade level. That would correlate to NJSLA standards, but at a very much more kind of refined kind of level, like softened level. So the other piece is, just like with every single test, we look and we see how a student performs, and then based on that, we take a look at prerequisite skills, what skills still need to be fostered and bolstered. The IEP can change as a result of that, and we could also look at how we are implementing the curriculum, and we have done that when we've talked about it in Special Education Committee and how we're doing that across the subject domains.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, first, thank you for your presentation. Do you know how many students did not graduate last year?
I don't have that information right now.
Would you be able to, in the near future, come up with a number? Would you be able to come up with that number in the near future?
I just want to clarify, do you mean how many students didn't actually cross the stage or didn't graduate at all?
Did not graduate at all?
Okay, we get that. We do have a 97.7% graduation rate.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're just about 98%.
okay.
So, yes.
That's basically what I wanted
Okay,
to know.
yeah.
Thank you.
I just don't know what that number would be. Yeah.
Anything else, Mark? Mark, you done? Okay, Wilkin?
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to ask, for page 9 of the report, grades 10 to 12, there's 16 students took the test, but advanced in English, only 25%. Dr. Lacatina, is that number, the number of the students that took the test, were these newcomers? Were they like in, first year of ESL, second year of ESL?
I'd have to get that information for you, but traditionally, the students that are in ELL in the high school are traditionally newcomers to our school, to our country.
Okay. I think maybe whenever this information is shared with the public, I think there should be some context to that, because when people first see this, I'm a former ESL, I'm a forever ESL, but when someone sees this, someone who's not aware of what you just said will say, "Ooh, only 25% advance in English for 10th and 12th graders." So I think if some context can be provided so the community can, make sure this is not taken out of context, because for people that are not familiar with education, it could be easily misread. Thank you. Wonderful presentation, as always.
Anyone else? Vlad?
Could you just make sure that Google form is open for public comments?
Okay. Anyone else on the presentation? No? Thank you. Okay, at this point, we're going to turn to the agenda. First, I would ask any members of the audience have any comments on just the agenda. We'll get to other business later on, but anyone want to step up to the microphone? Just state your name, the street you live on, and 3 minutes, please.
Is it? Okay, it is on. Christine Weinstein, Burbank Street. I just wanted to wish Ms. Cisco a happy retirement. We were fortunate to have her at Memorial with my son in 7th grade, and she was wonderful, very patient, very kind, and really a wonderful paraprofessional, and I just wanted to wish her a happy retirement.
Thank you.
Good evening to all of you. I promised,
Josh,
There's-
Josh, before,
I'm
this have to
sorry?
do with, does this have to do with the agenda or just something separate?
I would just want to make a brief presentation.
Okay.
About-
Yeah, look, we're just doing the agenda right now, so we're going to go through the agenda, and then we'll go back to public comments for other
Oh,
business.
okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Hi, Dawn Ebner. Sorry about that. Teacher at the high school. I have a couple of items to ask about. One pertaining to what was stated. Nick, you had stated that the abolished policies that are going to be that are antiquated. Prior to that policy meeting, can we find out what those policies that are going to be just abolished, like prior to that meeting, so that I just can take a look
Yeah.
at those?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Right, you can hear me, right? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'll be part of our agenda. We'll put it up there, all the ones that will be abolished.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. And then.
So just so I could just elaborate on that
yeah.
for a second.
Mhm.
So some of them should have been abolished some time ago, and the way it works now is, just to give you an example, a new mandated policy, one of the ones that's actually being adopted tonight, has a number to it. So if that policy is 1, 2, 3, 4, and we go to adopt it, there may be an old policy that should have been abolished a while ago called 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's why it's so important for us to get rid of the old policies that should be abolished, so that it makes room for new policies that are coming up that may be taking that number with statute. But yes, I can give you that list.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on page 13, retirements, I would also like to congratulate Lorraine Cisco, as well as Al Kosfeld, colleague of Al's for many, many years, obviously, and just like to congratulate both of them on their retirement. On page 14, at the bottom, the approval of virtual remote instruction plan. When I looked at the actual plan, even though it says in S3D, it says for a declared state of emergency, declared public health, or public health-related closure, in the plan itself, it only refers to public health issues. So I don't know if that, if the plan itself should also identify declared state of emergency. You know, I don't know, maybe a weather, I don't know, like, I mean, Hurricane Sandy, we closed, you know, I know that's a long time ago, but does that apply to that as well? Because that policy, or that,
Believe it or not, at this point, like the most recent hurricane that we had that closed school, this plan actually didn't apply to that.
okay,
So this plan is more about public health emergencies such as COVID, not hurricane-based. But they're supposed to be providing us more guidance from the Department of Education, especially as it pertains to like the past hurricane and things like that that may come up. So if I hear more, we'll let you know. And this is always a fluid document if we need to update it, if they include that or not. It would be great if they did include things like that, because as we all know, you know, with snowstorms coming up, we were, you know, hoping that if we had to use virtual days, we could, but as of right now, we're being told that that's not the case, that a snow day will be a snow day and not a virtual day. So we're waiting for hopefully more guidance from the Department of Education that could be in our favor.
okay. I mean, certainly I worry about snow days as well, but if, you know, something, you know.
You and I spoke many times on snow days in the middle of the night, Dawn.
But if someone were to close us for like a week or something like that, where, some major things happen, I didn't know if that
course.
was be applicable. All right, on page 19, E3A, I know it says there not to exceed the per week hours. And when you look at the policy 2481, it actually says no fewer than 10 hours. So I'm not sure, it could be more than 10 hours or for home instruction. Because here it says it shall not exceed the per week hours, but the policy itself says a minimum of, so could it be 12 hours if needed for a student? I guess that's my question.
I'll have to look into that.
Okay. All right, there's only, F6D on page 45. F6D on page 45. Regarding the contract or agreement with Horizon Healthcare, that substitute basis, is that applicable to like a long-term sub needed for nursing, or is that just like a daily or a, kind of at
It could
this
be either
point?
one. It could be either one.
Okay. I skipped one, but that's awesome about the trees.
Oh,
I missed a page, that's why. F1A, the trees for that's fantastic. All right, I think that's
she said about the trees. It was a
the
good
trees.
break.
Yeah, the trees, I'm sorry. Yay for the trees. Yay for the trees. Okay, that's everything for now. All right,
Dawn.
thank you.
Thank you, Dawn.
Yep.
Any other members of the public on the agenda would like to speak? Okay.
Gene, I have one question.
Yes.
From Olga Ginsburg. Could you please advise whether the dynamic maps testing reported to the state and is included in the overall school performance report? Yes. The DLM, there is a section for the DLM that is in our New Jersey school performance report.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Now ask for board members questions or comments on any of the agenda items. Mike?
Just on S1, I just want to wish Albert Coesfeld and Lorraine Cisco the best in their retirement. I've heard really good things out there about both of them, so they will be missed.
Thank you, Mike. Any other board members? Rita?
Hello? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay.
We're good.
So I wasn't here for the policy meeting because I had 103 temperature. I tried at 3:30. I emailed the superintendent and the board president to ask to call in. Apparently that was too late. So I have questions on the policy. So my first question is policy 0131, and it's page 2 of 28. Section 3. I think if a policy is made, a policy is recommended, the first draft should be given to the whole board, and the whole board should decide if this is a good policy, a bad policy. It shouldn't be at the discretion of the superintendent or the board president. So my new language, and I'm going to make a motion for us to consider this, and if you want, I can write this, and you can table this. If a recommendation for a new or revised bylaw policy results from a referral for study, a proposed draft will be submitted to the board, the entire board, for discussion and approval on the first read. It shouldn't be the superintendent and the board president decides whether a policy should be done or shouldn't be done. So I'm going to make this motion, and I would like us to discuss this. Does any?
Second.
I'm sorry, it's page 2. It's on the 3rd page. It's policy 0131, and it's section 3.
Good evening. So we're in board member comments right now. My understanding is this bylaw amendment is up for second reading. This was read once previously, and there's going to be an opportunity to vote yes, no, motion to table, or otherwise when it's offered for action. So my recommendation would be not for action to be taken now during board member comments. You can certainly make your comments, which you have, about this, but there's going to be an opportunity to take action otherwise later.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Isn't the second reading when it's adopted and there's no more discussion about this policy? Did I misunderstand something?
No, you are correct. I'm simply noting this has already been up for action once.
I understand that, but I had 103 temperature, and at 3:30, I emailed the superintendent and the board president, and I was told it was too late to make a conference call.
I'm not talking about your committee meeting. This was up for action previously, but that's not relevant to this issue of whether or not you should be making a motion during board member comment. You're going to have an opportunity to vote yes, no, or take some other action when this is offered. So it's my suggestion, Mr. President, it's your call. You're the chair. There's a motion and a second. I think arguably it's out of order.
Okay, thank you, John. And John, I'll have to follow your advice on the parliamentary procedures. And I think what we need to do then is when we get to G2, you just ask that it be held or to the next meeting so you can put in a language that you believe should be there.
I'm sorry, I don't understand. I'm sorry, can you explain again? I don't understand what you're saying.
Mr. President, can I just make a procedural clarification?
You have a point of order, go right ahead.
Yes, Ms. Favelevic, I think that what the attorney is trying to say is the motion that you made, you can make it at the part when we vote for that item on the agenda.
Correct.
So if you want to make a motion when we have to vote yes or no or abstain for that item, there you make a motion for the discussion or to amend it. You could do it today. You know what I'm saying?
When we get to the
Okay,
G
so do
section.
When
it
we get to
again.
that part on the agenda, then that's when you make the motion.
So when everybody votes, I should make before the vote.
Before the vote, yes.
Okay. I have another question. For the policy that regarding the policy regarding the removal of the board member, it says after three meetings, you can be removed from serving on the board. How about if the meeting is three consecutive in one day we have 3 meetings? Is that considered 3 meetings missed, or is that considered 1 meeting missed?
I believe that would be 2 meetings because it'd be meeting A, then a different set of people meeting B. So that would be 2 meetings.
But
But
if it's
these
three-
are unexcused absences is what we're talking about.
I
So I
understand
want to
that.
clarify that's unexcused, like you just don't want to be there, not because you were sick like you were.
So if you have 3 meetings, and if it's a committee meeting, it does not have to be advertised. How much in advance do board members get to know when the committee meeting is? Because it's not advertised. If tomorrow the board president says, I want to have 3 committee meetings, and I'm on the committee meeting, and I had a prior, then what happens then?
I'm going to let the counselor answer that.
Can I make a motion then when we vote on it to discuss, to
It-
change it?
Hold on a second. The superintendent is conferring with the attorney, and we'll have an answer for you in just a second.
So this bylaw is following the statute, and if you look at the next page, this bylaw is not doing anything different than what the law provides in 18A. It's simply referencing it. But it does not, and if you were to ask me to interpret what 3 consecutive meetings of the board means, a committee meeting is not a meeting of the board. This is a meeting of the board. This meeting has to be publicly noticed, has to follow all the rules. There's certain times and notice periods. So this is not speaking to committee meetings. This is talking about a public meeting, and if an elected official misses 3 consecutive meetings of the board without good cause, that individual may be removed by vote of their peers. That's what the statute says, that's what this says.
Because the policy meeting, when I was watching on TV, it says any meeting and including committee meetings. That's what was discussed in the policy meeting. So now I'm really confused.
I wasn't at the, I
was-
wasn't at the committee
I
meeting.
just watched the television, and that's what was discussed, that if it's a committee meeting or non-committee meeting, it's all the meetings.
So we're-
So I'm a little confused. Can we clarify at least in the policy somehow that either it's committee meetings or all meetings? Because the board members discussed it as if it was committee meetings involved. And then
I-
you're saying not committee meetings. So now I'm really lost.
Well, I think the attorney just clarified it for us, that it's whenever the board meets as a whole. So it's not committee meetings, which,
Is there a way we can add something in the language of the, so that everybody is on the same page? Because, so that it makes more, that everybody's on the same page and there's no question about it?
I don't think there's any question. The attorney has clarified it. So it's 3 publicly advertised meeting of the board as a whole. It doesn't count committee meetings. So I think, we have an opinion from the attorney that the policy matches the statute and that we are in compliance.
Okay, I have another question. Is the P5G, the media center position, is that a new position?
What page?
Page 28. At least it was the old agenda 28, not sure the new. It's P5G and P5H.
P5,
Page 30.
page 30. P5, G as in George, H as in Harry, correct?
Yes.
Okay, it's not a new position.
It is a new position or not?
It is not a new position.
Okay, I have a question. It's a position for the library from 3:05 to 3:05. How about half days? It includes the 183 half days or days that, how do that occur?
Nick, how do they handle half-days?
you know what? I'll have to look into that and get back to you.
Is
I don't
there
have an
what-
answer on me right now.
Is there a way we can table this until we figure out exactly, because we are approving 183 days, but it doesn't make sense because half a days you finish at 12. So is the staff member going to sit there until 3:05 to wait for the media center to open?
Oh, all right. Dawn, come on up. Ms. Ebner, former president of FLEA,
That is her name on there.
and a teacher at the high school, been there, I won't say how long.
Okay, so the position, I happen to be Dawn Ebner, but that is not, I could answer this question whether it was me or not. So after school, there is the library at the high school is open for students after school for 2 hours. On a half day, on an early dismissal, it is not open for students on a half day. There were people who were previously approved for this position. I'm not sure which meeting it was at, but I also submitted my name. So that's why I'm added to the list of people. So it's not a new position, and it's filled on a rotating basis. So I might do it on Monday this week, and then Mrs. Smith does it on Tuesday this week. Ms. Bauman is the librarian, so she fills in the morning when we have the library open at the high school in the morning. So I don't know if that clarifies for you,
So
but it would be a maximum of 183.
So I
but it-
assume the 183 is a typo? Because it says
No.
basically the whole, isn't it?
no, that's the maximum it could be, but it's not 183 days.
Okay. And.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Sure.
Just needed Dawn to clarify that. So you have another question?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. I want to use my time today.
Go
if
right
that's
ahead.
possible. I have a question. Does the district, because everybody has a laptop, do we still need this? Because I understand before it was a need because people did not have computers. How do we determine if there's still a need for this?
Nick, do we still need the high school library?
Yes, I think we do need the high school library still.
Is there attendance or something to determine if actually students are utilizing this or not?
I know for a fact that the students are utilizing the library.
After school until 5:05. Okay, and the strong teacher, the 5SC, or S3C, I'm sorry.
30-second.
I don't,
What page, Rita?
in the beginning.
Page 14S,
How much does it cost the district?
S3C,
Sorry, it's the Start Strong evaluation system.
S3C, approval of strong teacher and
Stronger,
leader
yes,
effectiveness
it's-
system. On page 14, is that what you're asking about?
I'll provide that information to the board during the week.
I'm sorry?
I'll provide that information to the board during the week.
Okay,
We're not approving the contract.
okay, I have another question. Since it was adopted in 2013, has there been, by the administrators, to look at other teaching methodologies? Or this is the only one and we're not switching? I was just wondering if, since it was adopted, it's been 9 years, did we maybe think maybe we should try something different?
No, we're really happy with this evaluation tool right now. This evaluation tool, when it was adopted as well, was not adopted by the superintendent. It was not adopted by the administration. It was adopted by many stakeholders in the district that involved union representation, teachers, many different participants who went and looked at all the different models out there and adopted this model for Fairlawn because they felt that this was the best tool for it. I was part of that process myself. I know about it intimately because I went through it in my previous district, and we also picked Strong as well. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody has been very happy. We've had a lot of positive feedback over it. So at this point, we're not looking at any other ones right now.
Okay, but my question is, I understand you, I lost my paper. I understand that, but our school rankings have been going down. In August 2018, we
Is
were
this on the, I'm sorry, is this on the agenda?
Yes, it's part of the the evaluation.
No, it's Rita.
I'm not allowed to, okay,
No,
I'll
you-
speak
if you
about
wanna
it in
talk
new
about the
business. No, if I'm not
evaluation tool,
allowed,
that's fine.
I am not allowed. Okay, so the Horizon Nurse one, it's F6D. Can you
Rita,
please?
we'll have to come back to you because your 5
Okay,
minutes is up.
thank you.
And maybe somebody else wants to speak, but we'll come back to you. Any other board members? Mr. Santana?
Yes. P7G1, I will be abstaining. I don't have the page for that. I apologize. Page 13, S2A. Mr. Norcia, does the district pay for most of the costs of the S3? I just said it, page 13.
This-
It's okay. Page 13, S2A. Do we pay for most of the costs, Mr. Norcia? In this agreement, who pays more, the borough or
This is not a financial cost contract. This is the memorandum of understanding between us and the law enforcement
No,
on how we work together.
Yes, I understand, but I want to know who pays most of the costs for this program?
There's no cost to signing the MOA.
Okay,
When-
I understand we signed in the memorandum, but for the S3 officers that we have and the resource officers that we
But
have.
that's not on the agenda, Mr. Santana.
Okay, I'm referring to the memorandum of the agreement. Before I vote on this item, I'm asking a question about this memorandum, about this service that we pay for. Who pays for most of the costs, the district or the borough?
If I can help, this MOA is not a contract that lays out costs. This MOA gets to notification of certain criminal action. It gets to how investigations take place. I believe it follows the state memorandum of agreement that's distributed and promulgated by the state attorney general. So
Okay.
This simply looks to the relationship between the educators and law enforcement. This doesn't get to one officer costs this, one officer works this. It talks about the relationship.
Duly noted. I apologize.
Thank you.
Page 14, S3C, Sam 3 Cat. Mr. Norcia, how long have we been using this evaluation program?
2013, I believe.
So almost 10 years. Have the district ever considered another evaluation method?
I just answered that question, Mr. Santana.
Okay.
Ms. Faialovich just asked me the same exact question.
Okay. The reason I'm asking about this, I'm having doubts about this item, is because if we keep doing the same thing for many years, we're gonna keep getting the same result. And this item, in order for me to support it, I need to see more information. However, like my fellow board member stated, Ms. Favelevic, the evaluation tool is closely related to outcomes. And in the rankings for the last 4 years, the national ranking, our district has been declining for 4 years. So I think it is time for this board to at least consider other options. So I won't be supporting that item. Page 17, E1, item E1C, elephant, one, cat. Is this workshop being, are we considering offering this workshop for more employees in the future, more than one? The understanding bullying in school. Mr. North, in the future, are we considering adding more employees to attend to this workshop?
At this time, one person is going to it.
At this time, I will support definitely having more employees attend that workshop. For page 17, E1.
Just to go back to that, Mr. Franco just shared me, she's a newer employee who needs to go for bullying training, but she's newer in the district. That's
Thank
why
you.
she's-
Thank you for that answer. P18, E1. Why is this needed? Item E1K. Why do we need to send a board member for that workshop? Why is this needed? Page 18. E1, item E1K. Why is this needed? Is this mandatory, this training?
No, it's not mandatory, but it's part of school board's training that we're allowed to take. Any board member can take school board's training that's offered, and the district pays for it. So any board member can take any training that's offered by the various school board people.
Because this was not shared prior to being on the agenda
Yes.
with the board. Page 25, P5A, I will be supporting this item with the duly agreed upon corrections. Page 46. F6C, Frank. Number 6, Cat. No, page 46. Okay, that's another item. F6C, like I said, page 45. I will not be supporting this item. I will not be supporting this. I think we need to go a different route, different way. Amazon does not need more business. Page 46.
Mr. Santana, we'll have to come back to you. Your 5 minutes is up. And we'll go to a couple other board members.
I
We'll come back.
had a few comments from the administration that stopped my time.
But Pat allowed for that.
Counting that?
Pat, you stopped the time? Yes,
Okay,
you
I'll come
stopped
back.
it.
Okay, no problem.
Hold on one second, Mr. Banta. Just a point of information, that workshop that Mr. Banta is going to was on the agenda that went to all board members last Friday in an email. So this was not something new that was just added to the agenda. All board members received this last Friday with his name on it.
Yeah, that's what I stated. We knew about it when the agenda was first sent. I didn't mean we knew about it tonight. And
Okay.
All right, any other board members who have not spoken? Vlad?
Okay, this is not a question, this is just a comment. Item Peter 5, Frank, on page 29, approval of winter sports, Schedule C positions. So I sincerely, with all my heart, hope that these events will happen, all of them without exception. I hope so. But as we know, COVID is unpredictable, and if we get a surge in COVID again, we may have to close some of this. And if we do that, the way it stands right now, all coaches will be paid in full, even though we may have to close due to COVID. It's just a comment about clarification of this motion.
Anything else, Vlad? Okay, thank you. All right, any other board members who haven't spoken? Okay, then we'll go back to Rita for her other 3 minutes.
So page 45, the approval of Horizon Healthcare staffing. Can you please tell us what is the overhead, how much it will cost the district? Can you please explain? No, I mean, like, you know how we have
Oh,
subsidy-
Rita, he's finding out, so give him a minute.
Oh. Maybe I was trying to
Horizon,
clarify.
you had, just to clarify, you had asked what the overhead was for Horizon, correct?
Meaning, like, for example, substitutes, we have a 28% markup. What is the markup for this? Maybe
The rates are on the form. The rates are included in the contract on the attachment. It's an hourly rate.
It's
I'm
part of the
sorry,
attachments that you
This is
received.
related to sub-nursing, so this is to provide more nursing services in order for us to gather subs for the district, which is what we are in critical need of.
I'm sorry, I can't hear
In the
you.
attachment, you'll find all of the hourly rates. The nurses are paid via hourly rate on the days that we need them. It says clinical staffing agreement. It's included in the appendices, in the insert.
So the agency doesn't charge this and give the employee a difference? Like, for example, our subsidy, we pay 28%, so whatever they pay, they take 28% or maybe 21, I don't remember exactly.
Not
Is it
to my
the same?
knowledge, it's an hourly rate, and it's common among the other nursing contracts that we use for sub-services within the district for nursing.
Okay. Number 46, page 46, F7A, the 10th change order. Can you please explain that again? I didn't understand.
Yeah, just as we said at the last board meeting, there were several schools due to the hurricane as the setup of the tents, as we were setting them up. The first hurricane came through the school district. We had to take the tents down right away, so there was a change order because that was not anticipated. We thought the tents were just going to go up and they were going to stay there. However, due to the fact that there was a hurricane coming, we took the tents down right away so they wouldn't be damaged, so there was a change order to take them down. In addition to that, this is the second group of schools. For some reason, when they sent the invoice, they only sent an invoice with the first couple of schools. That was on the last month's agenda. Now, this is the rest of the schools are on there, so it's for the same event. Moving forward, our maintenance guys will be putting the tents up and breaking them down. This was just the first initial install of the tents, and unfortunately, an unexpected hurricane came through.
Gotcha. Okay, my last question is, I sent it with my questions, and I think I didn't see the answer. Maybe I did, I just didn't see it. The $15,000 that we paid for file bank this month, can you please explain why we paid that? I saw the invoice, but I didn't understand. That was one of my questions that I sent to you. It was $15,303 and some cents, maybe.
That was part of them actually doing what we have a contract for them for. So they were invoicing us the $15,000 because they actually came, took all our files away, boxed them up, and took them to their warehouse. So that was one of our bills.
I thought this would be done in July and
No,
August.
We approved it. We approved it then. And now they came and they actually came through and actually took all our stuff out.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Anything else, Rita? Thank you. Ron?
Just a point of information, Rita. File bank is similar to what I use, GRM. It's a rotating basis. They're going to come, once you get set up, they're going to come every month. They're going to take your stuff, my stuff I send out. They send stuff back to me when I ask for it if I need a file. They charge you for storage, they charge you for boxes, they charge you for everything, but they do all of it. They do the coding, they do everything. So you might see that bill once a month, you might see it every 3 months. I don't know how File Bank does it for me. In my business, I get a bill every month, I have to approve it, and that's how it works. So it's not a one-shot deal because they're constantly storing stuff, so you pay for that, just to give you a point of information.
Thank you, Ron. Any other board members? Mr. Santana?
Yes, page 46, F7A, Frank 7 Apple. I am very happy and glad to hear the superintendent state that moving forward, our maintenance personnel will be taken care of when, when the tents need to be put down because of weather. This will save taxpayers money. So this will save all of us money because we need to start doing things in-house. We don't have the money to be paying for everything to other companies. So it's great to hear that. I think it would be beneficial in terms of file bank, since it is a very costly contract. If it's possible, of course, if we can, most people are visual learners. If we can see if we can see like the space that we have saved as a result of digitizing all the documents, like later on, if we can see it, that will be very helpful, because we will see, the space that the district is gaining. Not that, there's no trust issue on that comment, but it will be helpful just to see all the tons of paper being digitized, which will save money because the more space that we have to allocate for our children and less space for paper, the better. So I see the efficiency, I see the effectiveness, but I think it will be helpful, I think, for the board to see that. That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, board members, looks like we're done with board member comments, so. I'm sorry? Can we just vote on this? It won't take that long, then we'll take a break. Okay. A motion for G1 and G2.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Opposed?
I am gonna,
Oh, right, okay, right, okay. I'm sorry, G1 and G2. It was Julie, and then, I forgot, Rita, that's what you wanted to talk about. Julie?
I need to abstain from the policy meeting minutes.
I also need to abstain from the policy meeting minutes.
I apologize, I forgot. G1 and G2, approval of minutes and approval of second reading and adoption of revisions policy. Actually, this is Rita, this is where you should make the motion you wanted to make on that, to just tell us what you wanted to do.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion on page 2, of policy 0131. It's the paragraph 3. I would like it to be, I think it's important for the board members to, I would think it's important for the public and all the board members to talk about different policies, not just the discretion of the board president and the superintendent. So my motion will be, I would like to change the language to the following. If a recommendation for a new or revised bylaw policy results from referral for study, a proposed draft will be submitted to the board and the superintendent
Can
for
I-
discussion.
Second.
I actually, if it's up to me, not sure that you have to take a motion on it, but I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't have an issue with it because I actually share it with the whole entire board. So, Mr. President, myself, we actually already, our practice is that we share it with the whole board before we have any discussion. So I don't have an issue changing that language. I mean, I don't know if we have to take a motion on it. Mr. Comegno? Or can we just change the language if the board's in agreement?
Yeah, I'm trying to find the language that you're talking about in here. Can you tell us again where in this bylaw you're directing this comment?
Yeah, sorry, I'm coming.
Come on down.
Yeah, you're talking about right here.
What page of what?
My proposal is the whole board and the superintendent for discussion. So not just the board president, and the board president is great, but I want the whole board and the superintendent.
Well, why don't we just add, will be referred to the superintendent and the board?
And there's no committee, there's no committees, we don't have a board committee.
Well, you have a policy committee.
We don't have a,
Yeah, we do. It's called Policy Committee of the Whole.
but it's the whole board.
Right, but it's called Policy Committee of the
Right.
Whole.
So it
Mr.
already
President.
exists. So what I would suggest is,
No, some things do go to a committee. Some things do get referred to a committee. They could study it. So they could study it. And then it goes back to the full board. You would want some things to go to a committee first, and then it goes back to the full board. The committee doesn't decide on it. The committee decides to break it down if it's something that needs to be broken down.
some things, yes,
Yeah.
other things, no.
Right, but so you can't, if you put it in, then that changes it. It just doesn't, it's just to cause meetings to go on longer. It's picky-uni things that are
Who made the motion in the second? Not this subsidiary motion, the first motion.
I did. I second.
For G1 and G2, who made that motion? John?
Okay, so would you gentlemen be comfortable with 0131 being tabled and referred to the policy committee for consideration of this edit? Then we don't have to have this back and forth. You good with that?
We have a, we have a,
Sounds good.
we have a motion and second, we're supposed to
again,
have
it's good.
discussion.
Mr. Santana, this is
Could
good.
we just wait for everybody to be recognized? John, ask your question again, please.
But my suggestion is simply, since this is an edit and a revision to a policy that has already been recommended by the committee for consideration, if the motion and the second on 0131 are comfortable with it simply not being offered tonight, and this edit being considered by the committee, it can come back in the form that has been recommended. So we don't have to wordsmith this tonight. Typically, this is not the way it works. This is committee work. So that's my suggestion. So if the original motion and second are comfortable with 0131 being tabled, it's just not being offered tonight. Okay, all right, so 0131, the original motion is now amended. So The motion and the second on the original motion is for 0145 through 0164.6.
Okay, so,
So the subsidiary motion is
So
essentially
I-
moot at this point.
so I withdraw my second.
Thank you. Okay, so now we've got a motion and a second on 0145 through 0164.6. I note there was an abstention. We can have a roll call.
Okay. John, roll call, please.
But didn't we just withdraw the,
You're voting on G1 and G2
okay,
as amended.
Without 0131.
noted, thank you.
All right, everyone good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, Mr. Spindell.
Yes, except for G1 board retreat minutes, I was not there, I abstain.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Yes, but with the abstention. Okay. Mrs. Falilovich?
Yes, but the policy meeting minutes abstain.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Abstain from G1, yes on G2.
Mr. Barbarolo? Yes. And Mr. Banta?
Yes. I have a motion for S1 through S3D.
Second.
Okay, will you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Falilovich?
Can you come back to me, please?
Sure. Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo? Yes. Mrs. Mahan? Yes. Mr. Spindell?
Yes,
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Abstain on S2A, Sam to Apple, yes on the rest.
Mrs. Falilovich?
Yes.
Sorry, I apologize. During my comments, I stated about S3C. So I'm going to vote no on S3C. I apologize. Sam 3 Cat.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. I have a motion for E1 through E3.
So moved.
Second.
All right, gentlemen, you ready to call the roll, please?
Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo? Yes. Mr. Spindell?
yes,
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Falilovich?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Santana?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Abstain on E1K, yes on the rest. All right, could I have a motion on P1 through P, bear with me?
Second.
Yeah, P6, yes, thank you. All right, could you call the roll, please?
All right. Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Santana?
On P5A, I will be voting yes, as long as the corrections are duly noted in the record. Yes on the rest.
Mr. Barbarillo? Yes. Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Falilovich?
I would like to abstain on P5G and P5H. And the rest, yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
yes,
Mr. Itkin?
Abstain on P5F like Frank, yes on everything else.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. Which one was it that we had to change the date? Was, we had the wrong step, right? Just so we clarify for the record.
Third item, Page 25, P5A. It was a typo.
Right, okay.
Can we just make sure that they get it? 'Cause
Right, okay. That should read step 19, should read step 12, not step 19, correct? 11, okay, I'm sorry. Okay.
Point of information, do we need to amend, do we need to make a motion to amend it, or it's fine like that?
Is it okay with a motion or seconder to amend it? Okay, thank you. Okay, we're done with the Ps. I have a motion for SE1 through SE3.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
All right. Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Barbarillo? Yes. Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich? Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. Motion for C1 and C2.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll when you're ready.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo? Yes. Mrs. Mahan? Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mrs. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Banta?
Yes. And a motion for F1 through F7.
So moved.
Second.
All right, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Mahan? Mrs. Favolovich?
Yes.
Mr. Rosenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Mr. Barbarillo? Ms. Quackenbush?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell?
Yes.
Mr. Santana?
On F6C, Frank, 6, Cat, no. Yes on the rest.
And Mr. Banta?
Yes. Okay, that's the end of the agenda. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn to the public. If you'd like to speak, I ask you once again to step up to the microphone, state your name and the street that you live on. And at this point, it's other business, so whatever you'd like to speak about, you're certainly welcome to it, so step up.
Good evening. A quick preamble. I know that electioneering is not permitted and has no place in any Board of Education meeting, just like on Election Day. So I would just say, after 12 years on the board, I was honored and humbled when board members told me, expressed their appreciation for what I had done as a board member for 12 years. And my stem cell oncologist at Mount Sinai, whose husband graduated from the Fair Lawn schools in 1995 after emigrating from Russia, said, please thank the board for what my husband benefited from due to the education here. My name is Joshua Gillenson. I've been a resident of Fairlawn since June of 1986 with my wife. Both of our children attended the Fairlawn Public Schools. Upon their graduation, they became members of the group that our exemplary school district's motto and pledge speaks of. The leaders of tomorrow attend Fairlawn schools today. So as people humbled and honored me when I went to my last meeting, this letter is my heartfelt appreciation and thanks to Mr. Gene Banta, who I believe is running for his third term. I was a member of the board from April 2000 to November 12. During my tenure, I had the privilege to serve with many and excellent, dedicated board members who served in some case for 20 years more. But during my tenure, and a few of those excellent board members are here tonight, Cindy Quackenbush, Michael Rosenberg, and Ron Barbarulo. I haven't had the pleasure to work with the other 5 of you, but I extend my gratitude to you for your tireless service. But during my tenure, Mr. Banta was, in my opinion, the best of the best. My decision to run for the Board of Education was informed by my desire to give back to this exceptional public school district, and by having been a special education teacher for 5 years and master's level MSW case manager and therapist for emotionally disturbed adolescent boys in residential treatment. I'll now cut right to the chase, that being to tell you that all I know about Gene Banta's intelligence, unwavering commitment to the students of Fairlawn, and his role as one of the 2 most extraordinary leaders that I've ever had the pleasure of knowing and working with. And I do my job, and if I do my job as I've endeavored to you, after reading this endorsement, you'll understand why I say, if you don't need Eugene Banta, you ought to.
Josh, I appreciate the kind words, thank you, but your 3 minutes is up.
Okay.
Okay? I thank you.
Is that it?
That's it. Your 3 minutes is up, sir.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for the kind
And my
words.
best wishes to Dr. Lacatino. It's wonderful to see doctor before your name and PhD after. And best of luck to you, Superintendent Norcia, and to the board and the rest of the administrative team and the faculty.
Thank you, Josh,
Thank you.
and thank you to your service on the board as well.
Yes,
for
thank you,
Fairlawn.
Josh.
Thank you.
Any other members of the audience?
Alba Morales, I don't know, can you hear me?
Alba, we can't hear you.
Something happened. Oh, okay, good. Can you hear me now?
That's
Alba
better.
Morales, Randolph Terrace. I went through the list of professional developments, and I thought it was terrific. I'm so glad to see more Orto and Gilligan teachers taking that class. I also saw that Jean is taking the SBA class, and I think that's also really good for the board. And just to make other board members aware that there is a Bergen County SBA seminar on SEL, Wellness and Learning, and I think one member of the board should take advantage of that seminar as well to bring the experience to the district. I am concerned about the nurse in TJ. She has 1,079 students, I think is the last count, 1,070 students, compared to our other middle school where there's 1 nurse for 628 students. What the Nurse Association recommends is 1 nurse per 750 students. I think it's a little reckless to have only 1 nurse for so many middle schoolers, and I recommend the board and the district to look into this. I also checked the August meetings, and you guys approved a decrease on the assistant nurse for TJ from 5 hours a week to 3.5 hours a day, sorry. So I also will encourage you to, instead of decreasing the hours of the nurse, to increase them, to the assistant nurse, increase them. I think it's too many kids for just 1 nurse, especially in a pandemic year. And the last thing I want to say is the same is for counselors. We have counselors, 1 counselor per 268 students in TJ. The numbers are a little better in Memorial. So also to consider, especially in a year like this, to hire more counselors for TJ. Thank you.
Thank you, Alba.
Pamela Coles. I want to refer to this sheet, the presentation. I really want to speak to the testing that you're pulling from 2018. That testing is old and invalid. Why I'm saying that? I'm a professor, and I am speaking to the past 2 years where our students have been impacted by COVID. They haven't been attending classes as they should in person, and the impact is dramatic. And what I mean by dramatic, because I teach the success courses, and the success courses are basically where you left off, or the school system leaves off. I'm teaching them time management, money management, academic management, various other areas. We did an assessment of their interest inventories, what their interest is inside of their careers. So we're pushing them forward into the future. However, when I asked them, because I noticed something was going on in my class, they were not sharing. They were not alive. They have been impacted dramatically. The impact is they are scared. They are still living in the past from COVID of how it has impacted their families and who got sick and how their families were dramatically impacted in the area of their family's health and well-being, and they were stuck at home with their families. I asked one of my students, I said to one of my students, I always give a precursor of what for the next classroom. And I let them know that we were going to be doing their resumes. One of my students said, "What's a resume?" Only to discover, I have 21 students. Only 2 students knew what a resume was. My heart breaks for these students that I now have. And why I'm saying is that these test scores are invalid. They are from 2018 to 2019, where the students were thriving. They had the experience of what it was like to be a senior graduating on a stage. And even if they didn't go to graduation, they knew that they graduated with exemplary honors coming from the Fair Lawn school system.
Ms. Coles, your time is up. Thank you.
Yeah, I got it. But I want you to get the impact because the job wasn't done and it wasn't fulfilled. And there is now an impact on our future.
Mr. President, we have a board policy. That states if there is no time limit for the public portion unless it seems like the public portion will go over 30 minutes. And if there's only a handful, 2 or 3 people who are going to speak, I think it is not, we are in violation of our policy if we are timing people to speak, if there's just 2 or 3 people who are going to speak.
I have no idea how many people want to speak.
Well, we could ask who wants to speak, because we have a board policy that there is no time limit if it doesn't go over half hour. So we need to follow the board policy.
Any other members of the public wish to speak?
Christine Weinstein, Burbank Street. First off, I do know firsthand that students do use the library after school, so please leave the library open. I know a lot of students who use the library as a place to go after school, so on and so forth. I've had students, family and friends in the neighborhood that know that their students go to the library. So when I hear people wanting to close the library, it's very upsetting to me. I wanted to thank the board for passing the mental health policies or, for this year because it's been extremely, extremely beneficial for my son. We were navigating again, yes. I know there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen because of COVID. I know it. Believe me, I understand. Okay? But the things that are in place right now are very, very helpful. My son was navigating a lot of social situations that he's never been in. He's on the spectrum, so he has challenges to begin with. So he's, behind the 8 ball from the start. But ESS has been amazingly wonderful. So I can't thank you enough for putting those things in place. Teachers have been amazing. Case managers, too. All of them. Everybody, I can speak on the high school, is working for the kids. They are there to support them 110%. That's what I can say. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the audience wish to speak? Okay. Oh, yeah, check the Google. No questions on Google.
Mr. President, can you allow
I will.
Ms. Coles to finish her remarks?
Well, wait, hold on. Mr. Gillenson, would you like to continue? And then we'll go to Ms. Coles? Mr. Gillenson, you have another 3 minutes if you'd like to use them. Yes, Josh. Well, come on up to the podium and state your name. You got another 3 minutes, sir.
My name is Joshua Gillenson, and my wife and I have been residents since 1986, and our kids went through the schools. And I just simply wanted to extend my appreciation to all of you, to Superintendent Norcia, Dr. Lacatina, the board members, and the whole administrative team, faculty, and ancillary staff. And I just want people, if they have a chance, when they're busy with kids and juggling jobs, etc. If you have a chance, come to a portion of a meeting or two when you hear the issues that are being debated and worked upon, like all districts do, and just watch Gene and watch him listen intently, quietly, and with a studied concentration, and doesn't weigh in or comment until the speaker is finished. And for that, I think it's outstanding, and all of you do an exemplary job, and it's, for many people, they don't know that it's really unfathomably difficult and a tremendous investment of time. So I thank you all. I wish you all well. And Mr. Norcia, we met only briefly, but my sixth sense said, wow, all those years he had in special education, teacher and administrator, special ed director, is doing our district a tremendous service. And the same to Dr. Lacatina and all of you. So thank you very much. God bless you, and have a wonderful year. And I'm amazed at how well you did in this difficult and tragic time of distance learning. So thank you and good night.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for
Thank
the
you,
kind
Josh.
words.
Ms. Coles, would you like to step back up?
Pamela Coles. So going back to what I said, that those test scores are basically invalid because it was taken during the time where we were not shut down. And students are now writing in text form rather than APA format or some kind of format they are texting their journal entries to me, but not texting, they're writing as if it's text. It's happened on numerous occasions, and it's a scope of the county. And I want to address, and I want to go look at the access for the Ells results. Could it be a direct correlation? The younger grades had 35 students, and there's only 60% in advancement. And then it continues up until the 6th or 7th grade, up until the 4th grade, where there's a formation of language. And then it drops dramatically in the 5th to 7th grades. So there is a correlation of learning and the process of learning. And then it drops down significantly. Of the 16 students, 4, not a percentage, I don't want a statistical measure. I want an absolute number. 4 are in the advanced proficiency. Advanced in English proficiency. So with this shutdown, it's impacted our students dramatically, like I've stated. And like I've said, it's heartbreaking, and now it's my job to continue on and have our students be successful. And I'm charging your students in this fair lawn body to have them be successful, have them be off the charts successful, have them learn APA formatting, have them learn things that are only dreamt about, whatever their thoughts are, whatever their passions are. And I got it, it's my time, and I thank you for this time. And it's really important that our students get back to normalization, that we have limited to no Zoom, unless in an extreme emergency. The interactions are absolutely vital and important to our student body and their livelihood.
Thank you, Ms. Coles.
Good evening, Mel Dershauer, Fairlawn resident, obviously. I just wanted, I don't know whose idea the whole tent outdoor thing was, as far as our district having one set up outside all the schools. Okay, sorry. Doesn't like me. So I just wanted to extend a huge thank you on behalf of FLACE, on behalf of me as a mom. FLACE has used those outdoor tents for outdoor activities, which obviously right now we normally wouldn't be able to have them indoors for safety reasons and whatnot. So to be able to still give our children those experiences, yes, the reading, writing, and arithmetic is all very important still, but those little mental breaks that they get from the activities that the PTOs provide, that we're able to provide because of what the district has given our schools, is incredible. The other day, I worked picture day at my daughter's school, and the teachers, would come and teach a lesson out under the tent at those tables. The kids smiling ear to ear with their mask breaks, which everyone was so concerned. The teachers making comments, oh, it's nice to see them, to be able to see them smiling, all because of the tents. So I don't know whose idea that was. I just want to say thank you as a mom, as a PTO president, as a PTO volunteer. They're really being put to great use. So thank you for those awesome additions to our schools.
Thank you, Mel.
Thank you, Mel. Any other board members of the public that have not spoken yet? Nick, anything on Google?
No.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we're going to turn it over to board members for comments on other business. Julie.
So I just have two things that I want to bring up. First and foremost, I want to thank our PTA presidents, our PTA exec boards, and our PTA parents who are involved. What you guys have provided to our teachers, to our students is incredible, and I know that you are not always thanked and considered, but you are truly the behind the scenes of what takes place at most of our schools, and I am especially grateful. Second, I have a parliamentary inquiry and a question for our board. So we present questions on the agenda items prior to these board meetings, and it takes quite a significant amount of time and energy from our administration and our central office staff, taking time away from the day-to-day of our students. Many of the questions asked tonight have already been answered in writing prior to the meeting. Now we're spending time answering these questions again in the same manner. The answers that were provided to us this week did not change. If our community is not raising these questions and concerns, why are you asking them again? It is not only wasting the time of our administration, the community members that are here, but ours as well. We need to begin to use our time more efficiently and effectively. And continuing to get the same answers from our administration when they've already been put in writing is not beneficial to anyone's time. So, my question to you is, would you like to get those answers beforehand, or do we want to sit here and get them every board meeting? Because now we're just wasting our time all week long and tonight. So I'm not really sure I asked you a question, Mr. Comegno, but I just needed to say what I needed to say.
I'm not sure. Do you?
I don't think it was a question.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay, all right, I just wanted to be clear.
I'm happy that we spend all this time wasting your time, Mr. Norcia, and Dr. Lagatinas, and Mr. Franco, and Ms. Teague, and Ms. Bartley, and Mr. Sarapilias. We waste so much time all day long the week prior to these board meetings. You guys compiling data and information of questions that truly are not part of our job or our purview. You answer them for us, and then the questions get answered again. So how is that productive? You literally, tonight, I sat here on my phone, you verbatim responded to the same questions that you sent to us on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. So what I'm posing to the board is, could we not do that? Or then stop asking questions beforehand, because then we're wasting the time during their day, the week prior, when that time could be served with our students, with the staff that work with our students. Isn't the point to support our students and our staff, not waste our central administration's time? Because, I'm going to be honest, none of you tonight asked any of the questions that were presented earlier this week and answered. So all that happened tonight was that we repeated information that we already had the answers to. Now I'm done.
Thank you, Julie. Cindy.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that this past weekend I had the absolute pleasure of attending the trunk or treat at Memorial parking lot that was put on by the 4th grade committee. Am I correct in that? And
Lindcrest, yes.
Lindcrest, right. It was Lindcrest 4th grade committee, correct? Okay. I just wanted to say it was an absolutely beautiful event. The kids were so excited to be dressed up and to walk around, and they were really happy when everybody was, fawning over their costumes. I saw so many happy faces. The 4th grade committee did a bang-up job. It was sold out, which is tremendous, and I just wanted to thank them very much. I had a wonderful time. It did my soul good to smile in the faces of those kids, because that is what it's all about. I'm also attending the Friends of Music competition this weekend, and I'm looking forward to that. I've been in the past. There's so many things that are going on in the district that we should all get involved in going to.
And I wanted to thank Nick for offering the tickets for the cabaret night, which I also am planning on attending. And I just wanted to say thank you. And again, kudos to the fourth grade committee. It was really, really, really nice.
Thank you, Cindy. Mike, Rita, Wilkin.
All right, I wasn't going to go, is this on? Yeah, okay, I wasn't going to go there, but I am going to agree with Mrs. Mahan on a couple things. You know, it's said that you attend a meeting for a certain amount of time, and after that time is up, you know, I think it's an hour, is actually people's attention spans. And then things start to go downhill because people lose interest. We want the public to have interest in our schools. We want the public to have interest in our Board of Education meetings. I think for the public, and I don't want to speak for the public, I just think, in my view up here, once we get over that hour mark, the attention starts to wane. And I think we do have to think about what we're doing to the public, okay, and what we're doing to our administration. The whole deal with this, for our school system to work, the Board of Education has to have trust in our administration. We have to have respect for our administration, okay? We hire a superintendent to run our school district. The superintendent is not going to do something that he knows is not proper or illegal because it's his license on the line too, okay? We need to respect one another. We need to respect, and that means one another's time and what one another is saying. And we need to respect our administrators. It's getting to be enough is kind of enough. It started to go, you know, we've had a few years of this now. And I don't understand it. Mr. Gillenson, thanks for coming to the meeting tonight. It's glad to see you. I'm glad to see you. You're right. You were on the board on a much different time. And sadly, that time has left us. Thank you.
Thank you. Rita.
Mr. Anastasia, can you pull up the mental health page on for everybody to see? Because I had issues accessing something. I was wondering if you could help us. And didn't you have the presentation? Is there where somebody else could pull it up? Would that be possible?
We want to pull up the mental health.
Mental health page. I just wanted to show you something because I don't understand.
Could you just explain it to me?
I would like to see, how do you log on to one of the meetings? Can you please, can you demonstrate
You could
it
ask
for-
me and I could look into it and get back to you. That would be great.
Oh, because last meeting I asked you this question. You said you would get back to us, and you never
On
did.
how to log into the mental health page?
One thing is you can't log on because there's no link. There's a password, but there's no link for the mental health page. Secondly, it's a quarter of the year almost passed, and the district paid for 10 sessions. That's what the Care Plus contract says, the 10 sessions for mental health for parents and for middle school and high school students, their parents. There's no workshops at all online. Last week I asked you about it. Last month I asked you about it. You said you will get back to us. It's been a month, so I would like to know what is the status.
Actually, we did meet with our mental health providers last week, and they're going to be providing parent workshops at the secondary level for us. So when I have more information, I will let you know.
Okay, but one will, because it's a quarter of the year has passed, I think mental health is
All
important.
due respect, it's been 6.5 weeks, 7
I'm
weeks.
sorry, can you
It's been
speak louder?
7 weeks since we've been in school.
Okay, 7 weeks. It's after during a pandemic, people need mental health. 70% of our staff and public asked for help for mental health, so that's our number one priority. And I would like to make sure that mental health parents can get mental health for the middle school and high school, especially 5th grade and 6th grade parents who are just moving into the middle school. It's a big adjustment, and helping would be very wonderful. Also, the mental health page, I tried to enter a workshop. There's no link. There's no way to enter any of the workshops.
Okay. You could also email me in the future as well, and I can look into it.
As
Thank
I
you
said,
for your
my
comment.
email does not work. I've been having issues.
Okay.
Okay. So this, when will we get back? Is there a way we can have a timeline so we know about the mental health page?
I just had mentioned that we just met with them last week, and as soon as I know when the presentations are, I will let everybody know.
Wonderful. Okay, so I would like to make a motion, since one of our board members said public interest for board is important. Not everybody has childcare. Not everybody can attend these meetings. I would like to make a motion for the board meetings for people to call in or use the Zoom, whatever the administration finds easier, to ask questions, because not everybody has access to this computer and not everybody can do this. So I was wondering, I would like to make a motion for people to call in, or use the Zoom.
Second.
Excuse me, Mr. Santana, I'm discussing something with the attorney. I will get to you in a moment. Mr. Barula is saying. Okay, we have a motion and a second. The attorney would like to say something about the motion. Offer your thoughts first, and then we can do comments and questions.
So we have seen since COVID and with quarantines that the nature of public meetings changed. Before March 13, 2020, there was a single attorney general's opinion that permitted virtual meetings, and it didn't apply to school boards. A lot of boards looked into changing policies so that board members, for example, could participate remotely, and there was not a legal basis. So COVID happens, institutions get shut down, and there was specific action by both the legislature and Department of Community Affairs, DCA, to permit boards under a state of emergency in the public health crisis to meet virtually. Part of that has been repealed, and in fact, we're now compelled to meet publicly. So there are limits in what the board can do virtually and cannot do virtually. There are also significant policy considerations. This school district cannot offer a fully virtual option. Our students have to be here walking our halls. Our teachers have to be here at the front of that classroom teaching. We have to be here under law and have a public meeting, and the public is welcome to come and attend under the masking rules and the other things. So I offer those thoughts simply to note caution to the board in changing the nature of a public meeting. I would certainly recommend that, similar to my suggestion before, if there's consideration of changing how this board operates public meetings, if you refer to committee for consideration, not for an up and down public vote without any prior notice at 9:30 during a board meeting. So those are my thoughts.
Thank you. What? Okay. Okay. I don't know who had the hand up first. I was talking.
Julie was first.
It's on a motion. This is on a motion. I think Ron was first. I know that for sure.
Julie, I think, was second.
Ron, Julie. And we got Cindy, Mike,
And Wilkin.
and Wilkin. Okay. Ron, shoot. Shoot, go ahead.
First of all, I thought we discussed this earlier. There was going to be a policy thing we were going to discuss in 2 weeks. And I am not prepared to vote on this motion or anything about this motion when this, again, was said, as the attorney said, at 9:30 at night. So I don't want to be looked upon that I don't believe in it. I have my feelings, I have my thoughts, and I want to do my research. So if anybody in the public thinks that I'm against it, because I don't want to talk about it tonight, that's on you, but I'm stating it publicly. I need to do my research, and I don't appreciate a motion like this being put on me at 9:30 at night. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Julie?
I'm going to go back to what I said before, which is we need to use our time productively. Mr. Norcia just said to us at the beginning of this meeting that this was going to be a policy that we discussed in 3 weeks. Why are we spending our time at 9:30 at night trying to make a motion on a policy that is on our agenda to discuss and potentially amend in 3 weeks? We all have the opportunity now, because Mr. Norcia shared with us that we were going to amend this policy. We were going to look at this policy. It's set it up there, 0167. We were going to discuss revising it. Spend the next 3 weeks doing your research. Do your due diligence. Making a motion now at 9:30 at night is a waste of time. It is not productive for any of us. It is not productive for our community members. And at this point in time, I agree that there may be options that need to be changed for this policy. I will say it here right now. At no point will I ever agree to any board member sitting virtually or participating by phone. If you can't be here, then you can't do your job as a board member, and then you should find a better option for yourself to participate or volunteer in our community. But if you are a board member, you need to be here. I will vote no on this motion because I think we need to spend some time researching and doing our due diligence to assess whether Zoom or another form of virtual access or a telephone line is our best option. Making a motion tonight, again, unproductive use of our time.
Thank you, Julie. Cindy?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that we are going to talk about the policy, and that's when we're going to have the discussion about it. I don't want to have a motion where we take a vote on a policy that we haven't even discussed. So I definitely would vote no, and it's not because I don't want the public to participate. It's because we're going to be discussing this policy at the policy meeting and setting the policy at that time. I don't want a motion and a call for a vote when we haven't even discussed it as a board, what the policy entails, what we're allowed to do, what we're not allowed to do. That's discussion for the policy meeting, and that's what we're going to do. So I will be voting no, and it's not because I don't want the public to participate.
Thank you, Cindy. Mike?
Oh, in the words of a famous president, here we go again. We're doing the same thing over again. We need to do our due diligence because, first of all, we need to see what we can do in this particular room as we're having meetings in this room. Right now, the public is participating by sending stuff on Google, on the Google form. So the public at home that can't come to our meetings are watching the meetings on YouTube, and they're able to ask questions or state their comment, rather, using the Google form. I think we're going to talk about it in a few weeks at the policy meeting. So I don't know why this would all of a sudden come up at the end of the meeting. It just is, it's getting to be ridiculous at this point, in my opinion.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Santana?
Yes, I think we need to be, yes, I agree we need to be respectful to one another. I also agree we need to stop belittling board members in public. We need to stop belittling each other's ideas. We need to have a little more sympathy for one another. You know, there's always an excuse whenever there's a change proposed. There's always an excuse. I am not running away from my responsibility. I am for public participation. I am for more public participation. I am for more public input, not less, okay? I believe, and Ms. Fabelevi can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the motion is to allow the public to call in to participate, to speak during the public portion. What harm is that going to do to any of us? They have to follow the board policy, you know, state their name, address, limit the time, you know, the comments appropriate. Anything anything new proposed on this board, it's like the sky is falling. And whenever we have, say, Mr. Itkin, Ms. Favelevic, and I proposing any new ideas, it's a big deal. And I don't like it because it's wrong. We need to stop being condescending with certain comments. Everybody here is an elected board member, elected by the community. And if Ms. Favelevic is proposing that idea, at least we should all discuss it, not belittle her idea. People voted for her for a reason. And for any board member to say, for us to find something else to do, that is very disrespectful. That is very disrespectful. We're not following board policy. We're not following board policy. And tonight I had to remind the board that we're not following board policy. So if a parent from Radburn just gets home at 8 p.m. because they got out of the train at 6, and they can't be here at a meeting, we have the second busiest commuting train station in Bergen County. Not everybody who's not here doesn't care. So not allowing a parent that just got home from work from New York, taking the train to call in and make a comment, that is a huge deal for this board, then how are we going to tackle the bigger issues? Some of us just refuse to make any changes. And instead of listening to our fellow board member who was elected like all of us, we are saying, find yourself something else to do. You know what? If I have to be here until 1 in the morning or until 5 in the morning so the public can have more input and we can have more public participation, I will. I will. But I think Ms. Favelevic deserves an apology because I will never shut down any member's thoughts or ideas. Because you cannot be for accommodations. You cannot be for, I want to feel comfortable. You also have to support other people feeling comfortable. So I agree with you as long as you agree with me. That's wrong. We're modeling behavior for our children. The attorney is not a board member, with all due respect. We are the board members. We are the elected people on this board. And board policy is our responsibility. What harm does it do to anybody here to allow a mother or a father who just came from New York working all day, 2 hours on the train and on the bus, and they get home at 8 p.m. and they want to call in? Why is that a big deal to you? Why? What do you fear? I do not fear public participation. I have gotten nasty emails, nasty comments in 3 years. People have the right to criticize. People have the right to say whatever they want. We need to stop belittling those of us that have a different thoughts. You need to stop belittling people that do not agree with you because we're modeling behavior for our children. And that's bullying. Belittling people who don't agree with you just because of their ideas. So Ms. Favelevic deserves an apology. Ms. Favelevic deserves an apology. Because
Mr.
whenever
Santana,
she
your
speaks,
5 minutes
she's
is up.
being disrespected whenever she speaks. And all of us here are leaders in our community, and we represent large segments of the population. Large segments of the population. Many of us work very hard to be here. For any board member to say, find yourself something else to do,
Mr.
the
Santana,
entire board
your-
needs an apology.
Your 5 minutes is
Because
up,
the
sir.
board policies are not being followed, Mr. President. So anybody who votes no on this motion, you're denying the right of a person, our neighbor, to participate when they get home tired from working. So I'm asking the entire
Mr.
board
Santana, you are
to
now a
vote
minute
yes
over.
on the motion.
Ron, don't,
I'm
please.
asking the board to vote
Mr.
yes on the
Santana,
motion.
your time is up.
I'm just finishing.
I know, but you've been finishing for a minute now, so
I'm asking, that's it, the sentence. I'm asking the board to vote yes on the motion. It does no harm to you. Allow both for more participation, both for greater public input. Vote yes. Vote yes, please. Stop denying more public participation. Don't run away. Vote yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
I think Mark had his hand up. Yeah, Mark and then Ron.
Yes, any avenue to extend the community's participation should be welcomed and something that I would like to see. However, listening to everybody here, I'm more than positive that we're not going to get 5 votes to pass this item tonight. First of all, there's too much argument going on. It's getting late. People are not being reasonable. I think we should postpone this. Come back in 3 weeks where the climate will be different, where there will be ample time to discuss, and hopefully we will have 5 votes to say that the public can stay home, call in, and be part of the board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Ron?
First of all, I am not against public participation. You want to vote on something that we don't even have all the information. We have no parameters. You just want to say something, okay? If the rest of the board wants to vote, we all agree to vote and have them call in, that's perfectly fine. I'm not against that. I've never, ever been against public participation. I've been on the board a little bit longer than some people, and I've always encouraged people to come to the board and be involved. But I will not sit here and have somebody tell me that I don't care about the public, I don't care about this, I don't care about that. I'm stating is that when I do votes, I do my research like solid board members say they need to do research, and I want different answers to parameters that we're going to have with this policy. That's why we're waiting for 3 weeks to discuss it at a committee policy meeting. As the board attorney stated, this is a committee thing. This is not to be done at this particular time. So it doesn't automatically mean that every board member doesn't like Ms. Favelich's idea or nothing like that. So don't put words in people's mouths because I find that very insulting. Okay?
Ron,
I'm not gonna
Ron,
sit
direct
here
your
anymore.
direct your comments
I'm sorry,
towards the-
Gene. I sat here all night. I'm not going to sit here.
But yeah,
and get
but talk to
insulted.
me because you're not supposed, board members are not supposed to have crosstalk. Thank you. Okay. No, Rita.
I would like to make sure that everybody is aware, and the public is aware, that Mr. Itkin in April proposed that. Wait 15 days, wait till next board meeting. June, July, wait again till the next 15 more days. Or wait 45 more days. We keep waiting and waiting and waiting. This was not the first time. This was asked by Mr. Itkin in April. Then it was asked in June from Mr. Itkin. Then it was asked again in July by Mr. Itkin. This is not a new idea. So please don't tell me you heard this for the first time. You heard this for 8 months. Not 1 month, not 2 months, 8 months. And no, everybody says 15 more days, 10 more days, next board meeting. Please don't tell me that. Also, people can't wear masks sometimes. They have a medical condition. They can't come to this because then they have to show proof of a medical. Maybe they can't go to the doctor, so they can't come to the meeting. People have childcare issues. I myself have childcare issues. With COVID, it's impossible to find someone to watch your child at night. If you're a single parent, you think to yourself, should I buy groceries or should I attend the board meeting? Because that's going to be the options. And as a parent, I would pick groceries. Please don't tell me that single parents, even parents that are not single, cannot watch because they have different shifts that they work. Please understand that this is their most important. I asked my mother one time, what is the most important accomplishment of your life? She has houses. She came to this country with nothing. And you know what she told me? My children, the most amazing accomplishment of my life. So you're telling me that those parents that want to ask questions cannot for 8 months? And everybody's telling me this is the first time they hear it? Please watch the April meeting. Please watch the June meeting. Please watch the July meeting. Please. This is 8 months, and nothing gets done. 8 months. I'm sorry, this is unacceptable that 8 months, everybody says this is the first time they hear it. For 8 months. Some parents can't make it. Some parents cannot make it. This is not fair that you're not letting people talk and ask questions and be participating in policy and their child's well-being. I'm sorry, this is just not right. Thank you.
Can I just
Nick, go ahead.
Can I just remind everyone that people can access the Google form during the meeting? They're watching live stream from home. So if they do get off the train or wherever they are, they can access the Google form and write a question. Somebody from the public did it tonight. One person. This is the last board meeting before the election with a very heavy agenda. And we had one person from home write a question in. So it's not that it's not available. It's just not being utilized right now. So I just want you to think about that before our policy meeting in 3 weeks. We've done this before. We've looked at the research. We looked at the data.
All right, Julie.
I just want to clarify. Vlad and I had this conversation earlier this week. He is absolutely correct. We also had it last week. He did bring it up in April. It was not brought up again, and I actually review every single meeting after the fact. No one brought it back to the table. It was not sent in an email to the entire board after April. It may have been brought up in the June meeting, but it was not brought up as a motion. It was not presented in an email to the board as a whole. Additionally, we all hear what we want to hear. I don't recall any of you saying you've never heard this before. We all know that this has been a conversation that is ongoing, but at no point tonight did I hear anybody state, I have never heard this before. And finally, let's be very clear. I did not say that anybody who cannot participate should find something else to do. I am very clearly delineating at this point in time that I believe in public participation. I believe all of our community members should have access. That being said, I do not think that as elected officials, we should be able to access these meetings remotely. If we're sick, we stay home because we should be taking care of ourselves. Because as parents and grandparents and human beings, we need to be the best version of ourselves, and we cannot do that when we're sick. If we have childcare issues, unfortunately, that's a reality of life as parents, and that's something that we have to take care of. My kids are always going to come first. If I can't make a meeting, I'm not going to make a meeting. And unfortunately, that's the reality of life. At no point, as elected officials, should we be taking a meeting remotely. So if that's going to be part of this conversation in 3 weeks or tonight, I will vote no. I believe this should be, in the future, in 3 weeks, when we discuss it again, it should be for the community only.
Thank you, Julie. Vlad, you haven't spoken on this, right? No, okay, Vlad, and then we'll.
Yeah, this is my first time. So just for clarity, okay. Just for clarity, I want to say 3 things. First, this matter was brought at the board twice. First time in April. Second time it was either June or July. I don't remember for sure. Okay, June meeting. So it was discussed twice here. That's first. Secondly, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the motion was only for the public to participate via audio, not for the board. So the motion was not about the board participating via audio. And thirdly, if I may ask Mr. Norcia, is the Google form open now?
No, we're done with the public portion, so I closed it.
But it was open when the public
Yes,
had
it was
comments for
open.
new business.
It was open.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Vlad. All right, Wilkin, your second shot, go ahead.
Yes. The fact that this was brought up, the fact that a duly elected board member brought this up twice. And now we have a duly elected board member bringing it up again. And we have a duly elected board member seconding that. And board members still are ignoring this issue. And again, we have the second busiest train station in Bergen County. When you vote yes, you voting yes for more participation. When you vote yes, you voting yes for more public input. If you vote no, which you have the option to, or you have the option to abstain, but if you vote no, you will be voting against more public participation, and you will be voting against more public input. Now, we don't want to do that. We want more input, and we want more participation. Why? Because we want to make sure everyone participates, all residents. And I'm very sad. I am very sad. Mr. Itkin proposed this wonderful idea twice. The can was kicked down the road. Ms. Favelevic is proposing it. Hey, we could do it in the future. The future's never here because we never want to change things. We always want to kick the can down the road. We need to start listening to one another, not just people that agree with us. We need to listen to one another. I don't know what is the fear of listening to people call in during the public meeting. It's the same as people speaking in that podium. And people have the right to say whatever they want, as long as, you know, they're following the procedure. It is very sad. It is very sad. You know, I don't think someone that wants to participate wants to hear. That's just the way it is. Now, we're not advocating for elected officials being electronic board members. We don't want that. I agree. But we have to have equity for ourselves as a board and for the district. Equity providing for those who cannot be physically here or
All right,
or
Mr.
cannot use
Santana,
the
your
computer,
time is up.
and equity for those board members that have ideas that you don't agree with. And it's very strange what's going on this board. It's very strange.
Thank you. Mike, did you want to say something? Yeah, Wait a minute. We have a procedure for motions, 5 and 3. As much as we may not like an extra 45 minutes for one motion, that is what we have. So, Mike, go ahead.
Real quick, I want to make sure that my words aren't parsed. I'm not voting yes on this tonight because we're going to be talking about it in 3 weeks. That was agreed upon at the policy meeting. So I'm not going to change my mind all of a sudden because of the policy meeting. I have nothing against the public participating. I want the public to participate. There is an avenue. If there was no avenue for the public to participate from home right now, I might have thought differently, but there's an avenue already there. So it could wait for 3 weeks till we discuss it. And there's always more things to something than just that meets the eye. And I have never, ever voted for something or not voted for something because of what I thought other people on this board would think. I vote my conscience. Thank you.
All right, John, could you just read the motion back for us, please?
Can I get a little clarity? It's a motion for the motion would be for the public to attend meeting or have the meetings via Zoom.
Ask questions.
No, wait. No, I think she said by telephone.
Or call in, one or the other.
Okay, so it's either or.
It's up to
Okay.
whoever can do it, how they can do it.
The motion is to have the public be able to ask questions by phone or Zoom. I think it's both.
Yes, yes.
I think that goes to what I recommended before, and that is when the board is going to be altering policy, there's a process, there's a committee process, there's language considerations and otherwise. So I'd offered my thoughts on that before.
Okay, so that's the motion. So John, when you're ready, call the roll,
Yes.
please.
Mr. Barbarolo? Mrs. Fabelovich?
Yes.
Mr. Itkin?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan?
No.
Ms. Quackenbush?
No.
Mr. Rosenberg?
No.
Mr. Santana?
Yes.
Mr. Spindell? Mr. Banta?
Abstain.
4-4, does not pass.
Okay, thank you. Did not pass. Okay, now, I think we were talking about other business. Is there anybody, I kind of lost track when we got sidetracked with the motion. So, who did not speak about other business that wants to speak now? Mr. Santana?
Yes. I read the Education Committee minutes. I appreciate the minutes being provided by the chair. In terms of laptops for elementary schools, this is my personal opinion, I believe it's too early for young children to carry those computers. As a matter of fact, parents of middle school students are complaining about the weight. So I understand it is not almost 10 pounds, but there is an adjustment period, and there's also a need, I believe, to promote the use of lockers for new fifth graders. In terms of buildings and grounds, and kudos to you, Mr. Norcia. I would like, and I gave you a call to tell you that before the meeting, but I noticed that there are very noticeable changes in our school's landscape, and I would like to congratulate our staff for their hard work and effort. I've seen a lot of flowers and beautiful shrubs well trimmed in certain schools, so the schools that I actually saw personally driving by. So kudos to our staff, and thank you, Mr. Norcia, for taking my input into consideration. For the Finance Committee, can the board get a list of the capital projects approved for 21, 22 that have not yet started? Education Committee, I would like to hear what was the different direction a board member proposed for the REACH program? What was that different direction? That was not stated in the minutes. Shared Services Committee, Mr. President, the meeting happened on October 18th. The board did not receive the minutes. I would like to know when the board will get the minutes for the Shared Services Committee meeting that was held on October 18th. And in terms of policy, we spoke about the policies that I brought up to the board, and it was we discussed that the attorney had to look at them in the district. The policies recommended by the New Jersey School Board Association. I would like to know, I hope, that they also will be in the upcoming policy meeting. They are of the utmost importance, not only as a board member, but as a parent. You know, they deal with staff ethics and inappropriate behavior. So it was by you, Mr. President, stated that the attorney needed to look at them and the district needed to look at them. So it is my hope that they will also be included on the policy meeting. It appears, if those two questions can be answered real quick before I go on.
The laptops, the Chromebooks that we were talking about, the Education Committee,
No. If the board can, no, that was a comment. If the board can get a list of the projects that have not been started yet, the capital
Yes.
projects.
That's no problem.
Thank you, sir. And Education Committee, what was the different direction a board member proposed for the REACH program?
I'll have to look back at it. I wasn't prepared to speak about that tonight, and then we'll get back to you.
Oh, if the board member is here, he can share it.
I'll send it out.
We're not going to have a discussion about a committee meeting that happened earlier in the week.
Okay. I would like to propose, I have proposed this, I think, in the beginning of my term, but seriously would like to request respectfully that the board consider moving our board meetings to a different location. This location, it is not productive. This place is too big. The sound is awful. The public at home always complains about the sound. And we need to look at an alternative location. I propose the Borough Hall because it hits all the check marks. It has all the check marks. Comfortable, enough seats. It has the video already. We can publicize our meetings on the community access channel, which we reach thousands of households in Fairlawn. And there's already police provided there because the police station is there. So, I know it's a new idea, and some board members may not be receptive to it, but it's all, we can't even hear one another here because of, there's even an echo here. I have other things to say. I want to give a chance to fellow board members, and then I'll come back to finish.
Thank you. I'm not sure how many people spoke on other business before we got into Rita's motion. So I'm not sure, when I said other business, I know Rita brought up the motion. Unfortunately, in my notes, I can't tell who actually had who spoke about other business.
5 people, I think, have spoken so far.
Okay. So we're going to finish. We're going to finish. Any other board members on other business? Nothing we've discussed already. Seeing none. Okay. Mr. Santana, you got another 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like for I have a new idea. I would like for the board to create a committee, a special committee, to look into our school rankings. Our school rankings for the last 4 years have been declining. So rather than blame and point fingers and hide our heads in the sand or ignore, why don't we form a special committee to look into all the variables that go into school ranking? Because, they are what they are. They're closely related to our property values. We have great property values in Fairlawn. A friend of mine, a relative actually, just moved into our town from another town, and she had to make lines just to see a rental. A house, many houses for rent go for $4,000, and they get rented. So, we're doing good with real estate, but if we can do better, everybody will benefit. Greater ratables, more funds for our children's schools, more resources for our teachers and students. So if we can create a special committee to look into why our ratings have gone down for the last 4 years. I think we were around 30-something, and now I think around 80-something. Correct me, anyone can correct me?
We were 11, and now we're 33.
We were 11, now we're 33?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a decline. That's not a big decline, but I would like to see if the board can create a special committee to look into the variables that go into that. And, I would like to know if a custodian witnessed a bullying incident, does that custodian know exactly what he needs to do or she needs to do to report a bullying incident? I would like to know, not only as a board member, but as a father. You know why? Because I understand our school employees are trained, but when we say school employees, everybody thinks of teachers and administrators, right? Paras, you name it. But if a child
30
reports
seconds.
being bullied to a custodian, would that custodian know what to do? And I understand by law, everybody have to report, okay? I believe it's mandated report, if I'm not mistaken. So I would like to make sure our district is taking care of that. When was the last time, Mr. Norcia, our student code of conduct was updated?
Mr. Santana, your 3 minutes is up.
Okay, just to look at the status of the demographic study and to see if it's time, according to the superintendent, if he feels it is time to take a look at the student code of conduct for any possible update. And just to conclude, we need to look at, as a board, we need to look at possibly redistricting. It's not fair that we have one school.
Mr. Santana, your time is up.
Can I be allowed just to finish? with
Mr.
1 minute?
Santana, your time is up.
Can I-
You've
can-
gone another minute over. You were 2 minutes over before. I'm sorry, but we have rules, and they apply to everyone.
Will you-
And
will you-
everyone has the same rules,
I
5 minutes and
understand.
3 minutes,
Will you-
not
I know
7 minutes and 4 minutes.
As
So
a
your time
president,
is up. Thank you.
Will you be so kind to allow me just 30 seconds?
30 seconds. Go right ahead.
Okay. Sorry, I have my notes here. There are people complaining in the community about the fact that one school is overcrowded and another school, has very low enrollment. And I understand the context and I understand the reality, but we have to have some equity and fairness, okay? If we have a lot of people moving into a certain part of the town, we need to perhaps
Okay, Mr.
we
Santana,
need to
your
perhaps
30 seconds is up.
take a look at it because it's not fair. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, that's the end of comments. Could I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Next meeting, policy meeting 11:11, public meeting 11:22. That can't be right, though, because isn't that the next public meeting? When is it? Yeah, it's early because of Thanksgiving, yeah. I don't know when it is. All right, it'll be on the website.